Assalamualaikum and a very good day to my fellow partner, Alia, and also to our subject for today, Mr. Daniel James. And before we begin, I would like to take a moment to introduce my partner for this interview.
Okay, so hi Mr. James. My name is NurNafisa Alia Binti Zainizam and I'm a student from KPM Surya Iskandar.
Okay, and for today, Alia and I will be conducting this session together to ensure we cover all the important aspects of today's discussion. The target of this interview is to explore Mr. James' experiences and insights on challenges, particularly those influenced by cultural differences. We believe this collaborative effort will allow us to engage effectively and gain a deeper understanding of the strategies and approaches used to promote harmony and inclusivity. Before we move on to the actual question, we would like to know a little bit more about you, Mr. James. Could you kindly share some details about your background? For example, your profession, your cultural experiences, and any relevant insights that might help us better understand your perspective as we proceed with the interview.
Hello Daniel and hello Alia. So my name is Daniel James. I come from Sudan. I'm just a recent graduate from UTP. So currently recent graduate for petroleum engineering degree, bachelor's. Currently working under Baker Hughes as a pipeline integrity analyst. So that is just a little bit about myself.
Okay, thank you, Mr. James. Let's move on to the actual questions for the interview, okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So for the first question, how do differences in language perception among colleagues from various cultural backgrounds affect teamwork in your workplace?
I would say the biggest thing is mostly misunderstanding because the way we deliver our points to each other, it's quite hard for us to sometimes get across together. So most of the time when we're conducting projects or stuff like that, there is sometimes miscommunication between ourselves. So I feel like that's the biggest thing. So just misunderstanding ourselves when we're conducting projects and stuff.
Okay. And what steps do you take to ensure effective communication during meetings or collaborations in your workplace?
So the biggest thing is because, like I said, there's sometimes we can have like miscommunications between ourselves. So okay, what I like personally do is like I note down like when especially during a meeting or anything I'm attending, I note down all the points that all the points like the project scope, everything, like what I need to understand, like what I'm doing, what I'm going to cover for the project, what my colleagues are going to cover for the project, so we don't overlap and we can understand each other and we understand what we need and what they also need. And also like in case you don't understand anything, so it's just like important like to just clarify and ask. It's always good to ask and clarify from like your colleagues and stuff, so you don't get confused or mixed up, rather than just keep it to yourself.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. James.
Okay, moving on. Mr. James, how do communication styles differ between cultural groups in your workplace and how do you adapt to these differences?
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so how do communication styles differ between cultural groups in your workplace and how do you adapt to these differences?
So the communication styles mostly just depends on the on the people like in the doing conducting the project, because most of the what I've noticed is not to be like racist or anything, but like when our groups are like divided, because we're all of like different races, so like I feel like it's much harder for me like to like sometimes like grasp the to like ask my I don't know how to put it in the best way, but okay. Can I try again? Let me try again.
Okay, sure.
So what I meant to say is because like we have like different races. So mostly like when like let me say like the Malay guys, they don't understand. They mostly like go and communicate with other Malay guys to like explain to them so they can easily understand. Like, but for me, most of the time, because I'm like the only non-Malaysian person, I would say, like in my department. So like it's hard for me to like just reach out and like ask for them to help to like explain something. But the way I try to do it is I just try to be open with them, and it's sometimes hard because I don't want to come across like maybe I don't know or like stuff like that. So but then they're always friendly with me, and they always tell me and they always tell me and they always explain to me. So the way I just do it is I just go up to them and try to be open with them, and they always give me positive feedback.
Okay, thank you, Mr. James. And then moving on to our third questions. How do non-verbal cues such as gestures or facial expressions influence interactions between colleagues from different cultures in your workplace?
I mean, non-verbal cues is like universal language, so like we don't even need to speak the same language for us to like understand like non-verbal cues. Like if someone's talking, if they're emphasizing the point on this, they're gonna use like their hands and stuff to like get the point across. So like it's very important non-verbal cues because it helps like get the point across like exactly, so everyone can understand. It doesn't matter where you're from, you're gonna understand all the non-verbal cues. Like, but some of it might differ like in culture wise, but then most of it generally is almost all the same. So it's very important to like get the point like really across to everyone, so you make sure like everyone understands. Even if they don't understand your language, they'll still be able to understand the cues that you're giving out. So
Okay. Have you ever experienced confusion due to nonverbal communication in the workplace? And
have I,
how
ex-
was it addressed?
have I ever experienced confusion due to nonverbal cues? I would say yes and no because, like I said, most of it's like universal, so like I'm able to understand most of it. But then no, in some regards, is like maybe if I don't understand a point, and then maybe if I'm like phased away or something during the discussion, then sometimes I just don't pick up on the important stuff. But most of the time, I'm able to like pick up like most of verbal, the non-verbal cues like they give. So unless he's like super angry and doesn't want to tell me, like that's the only time.
Okay, okay. Okay, thank
Thank
you, Mr.
you.
James.
Moving on to our next question. What are the common causes of intercultural conflicts in the workplace, and how do they affect team dynamics?
Intercultural,
Yeah, intercultural conflicts in the workplace.
or what are some of the most common? I feel like the most common ones is just like understanding like the scope of your project and stuff. So understanding the project and also like working styles, because I feel like everyone has like working styles. Like what I notice is like most of the guys like from who come, because we have some most of the guys from the other global companies like based in the US and stuff, when they come over, most of them are like super strict and stuff like that. They like to like do the work, and sometimes they even like overwork and stuff. So I feel like maybe in that regard it could cause like a little bit of conflict, because what I noticed is that like most of the locals like here, they maybe they take things like slowly and like chill and stuff. And I mean, they do work. I'm not saying that they don't work, but those guys, like what I've noticed, like most of the guys from abroad, like they are very strict on their work, and they come in super early. They leave super late most of the time, and when they come to work, they like really work and really focus in. So I feel like that's really gonna cause like sometimes maybe conflicts if like there's deadlines and stuff, and then you're not able to deliver result, or maybe if you're able to deliver, it's not like what is expected. So maybe that's gonna cause like a little bit of conflict. So that is the biggest thing.
So, how do they affect team dynamics?
I mean, it affects team dynamics because obviously if one person is not doing something right, and and let's say the group leader is not satisfied with what you're doing, so there's gonna be like a lot of back and forth, between
Yeah.
the team members, and it's gonna slow down the progress instead of just coming together and trying to find a solution, so we can meet our end goal. So that's where mostly the problem comes in. Like it affects the that's where it mostly affects the team dynamics because of the miscommunication and stuff like that, and different goals. So not meeting all the goals and expectations and of what your team leader set. So it's going to cause a lot of conflicts between the teammates. But at the end, if we can all like come together and help each other out, then we can we can achieve the goals at the end.
Okay, Daniel, last question.
Okay, thank you, Leah and Mr. James. For the last question, how do cultural differences in personal space and proximity influence workplace interactions, such as during discussions or teamwork?
Personal space. More to this regard, I would say like most of the locals here are like um, their personal space in regards of like they're mostly shy. They're afraid to like speak up and stuff like that. They when they want to ask some stuff, they're too shy. They just keep to themselves. So it affects the team dynamics in that way because if you're shy to speak up and you can't like really bring your point across, then it's gonna be hard. So uh so yeah. Oh,
Okay,
sorry,
thank,
sorry, sorry for
thank,
laughing.
okay, thank you, Mr. James. And can you share us an example of where respecting cultural space improve a workplace relationship?
Like I said in the previous point, when like most of the locals they're shy to like get their point across. So in that case, if someone's shy, you do not like force them to like speak up. Maybe if they're comfortable with someone else, they can go and ask someone else, and that someone else can come and ask you, and then you clarify to that someone, and someone else goes and clarifies to them. So it's all about like not pressuring people to do stuff that they're not comfortable with, but also those people have to understand that if you don't meet the expectations, there's going to be like bad consequences and stuff. So they also have to bring themselves forward, but not in a way that anyone's forcing them. But they have to understand that also like this is a team, and I have to also contribute to the team. So if I need something, and even if it's invading my personal space, I have to like at least let someone know who I'm comfortable with, so they can let the team leader or something know.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Mr. James. That's all of the questions for our interview for today. Thank you for thank you for giving us some of your time to interview you. So that's all from us. Anything, Leah?
No, just thank you, Mr. James.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Daniel and Alia. Good luck with your project. Uh,
All right.
it was my pleasure doing the interview with you guys.
And also, it's also a pleasure to do a meeting with you, Mr. James.
Okay, thank you. Good night.
Okay, good night.